Amara's office was a temple of beige minimalism, a stark contrast to the chaotic, colorful mess of her creative mind. The only splash of personality was the vintage 1960s Barbie perched on the corner of her desk. She was a relic from her grandmother, with a stiff, painted-on smile and eyes that held a strange, knowing glint. Still playing with dolls, Amara, a voice dripped from the doorway. Brenda from accounting. Her smile was as sharp and insincere as the points on her stiletto heels. Cute. I had one of those when I was 6. Then I grew up. Amara forced a smile. It's a vintage piece. Sentimental value. I'm sure, Brenda said, her eyes scanning the room for any other imperfection. Just make sure it's not in the background on our Zoom call with the VPs this afternoon. We want to project professionalism, not playtime. The barb hit its mark. After Brenda's heels click-clacked away, Amara sighed, deflated. She picked up the doll, her thumb brushing its cool, porcelain cheek. Don't listen to her, Barbie. She's just a mean, bitter woman who hates joy. The doll's painted blue eyes seemed to stare right through her. The afternoon Zoom call was a disaster. Amara's ideas were shot down, her presentation style criticized. Brenda, of course, offered constructive feedback with a syrupy tone that couldn't hide the venom beneath. After the call ended, Amara sat in the silence of her home office, humiliation burning her cheeks. She didn't notice the doll had fallen over during her frustrated gesturing. It was now lying on its side, its head tilted, those unblinking eyes fixed on the empty chair where Brenda's smug face had been on the monitor. That night, Amara was woken by a sound. A faint, plastic click-clack. Like tiny heels on a hardwood floor. She sat up, heart hammering. Hello? Silence. Shaking it off as a dream, she went to get a glass of water. Passing her office, she froze. The door, which she always closed at night, was slightly ajar. A sliver of light from the street lamp outside cut across the floor. And in the center of that light, standing perfectly upright on the rug, was Barbie. She was no longer on the desk. A cold dread trickled down Amara's spine. This wasn't right. She must have knocked it off and it landed like that. It had to be. She approached slowly, her breath held. She reached out a trembling hand to pick up the doll. Its head turned with a soft, grating creak. Amara gasped, snatching her hand back. The doll's painted smile was the same, but the eyes now held a dark, malicious light. They were fixed on her, full of intent. A tiny, melodic voice, like a corrupted music box, tinkled in the silence. Don't worry, Amara. I'll handle Brenda. Amara stumbled backward, crashing into the hallway wall. She fumbled for the light switch, flooding the room with blinding fluorescence. The doll was on the floor. On its side. Exactly where it must have fallen. It was just a dream. A stress-induced nightmare. She left the doll there and retreated to her bedroom, locking the door, telling herself it was all in her head. The next morning, the news alert buzzed on her phone. Local woman found in home after bizarre accident. Amara's blood ran cold. The woman was Brenda. The article was sparse on details, but the police were quoted saying the scene was highly unusual and deeply perplexing. Brenda had been discovered by a concerned neighbor. She was alive, but traumatized, muttering incoherently about the plastic and the smiling woman. The specific details were kept from the public, but Amara's source in the precinct, a friend from college, texted her later that day. You didn't hear this from me, the text read. But they found her in her walk-in closet. Something had rearranged it. All her expensive shoes were lined up perfectly, but the heels were snapped off every single one. And she was styled. Styled? Amara typed back, her fingers numb. Yeah. Her hair was in a perfect, giant bouffant. Her makeup was done, but caked on, like a doll's. And they found tiny, microscopic flecks of pink plastic under her fingernails. Like she'd been clawing at something. Amara dropped her phone. She slowly turned to look at her desk. The Barbie was back in its usual spot, pristine and perfect. Its smile was placid, benevolent. But as Amara stared, her vision swimming with terror, she saw it. Draped over the doll's slender plastic shoulder was a tiny, almost invisible shred of fabric. A thread from a sharp, expensive-looking navy blue suit. Brenda's favorite suit. The doll's head gave the faintest, almost imperceptible tilt. Its eyes locked onto Amara's, and in the depths of that painted blue, a promise flickered. "You are loved," the silence seemed to whisper. "But cross me, and you will be styled." Amara sat there, frozen in the grip of a terrifying new truth. She wasn't the owner anymore. She was the custodian. And her doll was so much more than just a doll.